Hello, everyone. When I was 10 years old, my mom spent every dollar she had to buy me this computer. It was the best day of my life. And immediately that day, I asked, can I get the internet? And she didn't really have any money left, but she's like, okay, you can get the internet. So I got on. It's my first day on the internet, and I started searching, and I found the X-Files. I was Googling, or sorry, not Googling, meta-crawlering the X-Files, and I found all of these websites with stuff about the X-Files. Like, this is so cool, but how can I talk to people about the X-Files? And I found chat. I found something called IRC, or Internet Relay Chat. This allowed me and all of us to chat instantly. It was so exciting. And I went into a chat room, and I said, hey, who wants to talk about the X-Files? And someone said, get out. I said, what? I just want to chat. He said, you have 10 seconds to get out of here. I was like, okay, random guy on the internet? No. 10 seconds later, this happened. On the brand new computer that my mom spent every dollar she had, this happened. I had no idea what happened. All I knew was this guy just destroyed my machine. I pulled the power. I waited like 30 minutes, because that's, I think, what you're supposed to do when something bad happens to your computer. And I plugged it back in, and it was like, I am going to be grounded until I'm 18. And fortunately, everything worked. Everything was okay. But at that moment, when the adrenaline was just like rushing through my body, this person over the internet, I didn't even know this person's name, they didn't know mine. They were able to control my computer. They were able to make me do something, control something that I had without any permission, without any authorization. It was incredible. And from then on, I thought, how can I do that? This is how. It's called the WinNuke. It doesn't work anymore. But I learned that this guy used some software called WinNuke 95. And by typing in an IP address, that would actually crash someone's computer. And then Microsoft released a patch, and it no longer worked. And I thought, well, that sucks. Can't use this anymore. But how did the person who originally made WinNuke, how did they make it? And that's when I learned about programming and reverse engineering and memory. And throughout the years, I got more into computers, more into programming, and who remembers CounterStrike? CounterStrike, yes, okay. I love this audience. I got CounterStrike, and I started playing, and quickly it was apparent to me that I need to drop out of high school and play more CounterStrike. So I did that. I continued to play, and I thought, man, I'm good, but I'm not the best. Like, how can I be really, really good? And I learned to reverse engineer CounterStrike. And I remember I was playing one day, and I had two speakers, the left and the right channel, and I heard footsteps, but I didn't see anyone on my radar. So I was like, this must be an enemy. And I heard footsteps go pan from my right speaker to my left. And I didn't see them, so they must be behind me. There was an enemy walking from the right to the left behind me, and I could hear that. That was information that was getting sent about someone else on the internet. That was getting sent to my computer, but I couldn't see it on my radar because CounterStrike doesn't show it. But my speakers knew. So then I learned about network sniffing and actually extracting the information from the network packets going to my computer. And once I was doing that, I figured I could actually draw them. I could draw them on my radar, even though all I have to do is look for the footstep pattern and the X and Y coordinate of that person, I could draw them. And while I was messing around inside of CounterStrike, I was like, I can do some other things. Like if someone throws a grenade, I can make that do nothing. Or I could see through walls. So I wrote an app that would allow me to see through walls. And then I was just destroying everyone. It was awesome. And that was fun, and then it became really boring until CounterStrike came out with Punkbuster, and now there were engineers that were fighting against me. And I would release a new version of my cheat software, and they would release a new version of Punkbuster that would stop mine from working. And I would release all my stuff open source. And as I sort of continued down this path, I learned about something called MySpace. And MySpace was, at the time, in 2005, the #1 website on the internet. So very cool place. You can go and add friends and add pictures. And I immediately found it pretty limiting. I found that you could only add 12 photos. Imagine if you could only add 12 photos on Instagram today. That wouldn't even cover my lunch photos. So I thought I found a way in the back end to add more photos, and then I thought, what else can I do? Maybe I can make people add cool HTML to their page and CSS, like Sarah was mentioning. And I found that I could actually execute code. What if I wanted to change something on my page? So for example, I wanted to change my relationship status. It said in a relationship. I wanted to say in a hot relationship. But this was simply a drop-down. You didn't have that choice. You had like single, divorced, married, in a relationship. And finally, I found a way to execute code on the page so that if you would visit my profile, you would execute that code, and it would change the text from in a relationship to in a hot relationship. Like, that's kind of cool. It's subtle. What else can I do? And I found that I could actually make you add text to your own page. So if you visited my page, you would add the text, but most of all, Samy's my hero to your profile. It's like, that's kind of funny. What else can I do? And I thought, well, if I can make someone add that text, I could also make them add me as a friend. So I made you add me as a friend too. I didn't delete anything. I just added Samy's my hero to your profile, and we became friends. Awesome. And I thought, I woke up the next day and it just, like, only one person had added me. And I thought, there's got to be a way to make this spread faster. I thought, if you can add me as a friend, maybe I can make that code copy to your profile. So you visit my profile, you add me as a friend, you add me as a hero. And then she visits your profile. She adds me as a friend and adds me as a hero. It spreads a little like that. And I thought maybe in a month I'll have like 100 friends. It'll be awesome. I woke up the next morning to 500 new friends. And an hour later, 1,000. And an hour later, 2,000. Apparently I had written a virus or worm. I didn't really realize or think about it at the time. And I was like, oh no. MySpace was just bought by Fox for $580 million, like a few weeks back. And I thought, oh no, I hope Fox doesn't get pissed off at me. What do I do about this? So unfortunately, it's not like if I delete my profile or delete the code from my own profile, that doesn't do anything. It's like if you get the cold and you're cured, you still gave it to 1,000 people. So I really didn't know what to do. I just kind of hung around and refreshed. It's growing pretty fast. About lunch, around lunch, I called my girlfriend. I was like, hey, do you want to get lunch? She's like, what's wrong? I was like, what do you mean? I just want to get lunch with you. That's so weird. And we got lunch. At that point, I had about 100,000 friends on MySpace. All of them that said Samy's my hero on their profile. I'm thinking, oh man. And I was like, hey, I was 19 at the time. This is 2005. I said, hey, I might be going away for a while. Fox was bought by MySpace. It was good while we had it. You know, it was fun. Our hot relationship. And I went home, and I had 500,000 friends. At this point, I was just refreshing just to see how quickly it's going. I got dinner. I got home, refresh, 950,000. Then I'm just calculating how fast it's going. It's going about 3,000 people per second. These are unique people logged in to MySpace. It just tells you how fast and how big it was even back then. At about 1 million, I took a screenshot. It was like, so cool. I refreshed it again, and then it was like, okay, your profile's been taken down. It's like, okay. They finally deleted my profile. I tried deleting it all day. It wouldn't work. Finally, they did delete my profile. And I thought, all right, I wonder what happened to my girlfriend's profile. Does this say Samy's my hero? So I go to her profile. This profile is down. I went to myspace.com. We're temporarily down. The whole team is here working on it, and I felt awful. I felt so bad, because I know what it's like to have an engineering team working late at night on a server trying to get something up. I felt awful. I was like, man, should I just drive out there and bring them coffee and donuts? I'm in LA, and so are they. So I was like, I should just drive there. And I was like, I don't want to deal with security right now. So I just sat at home. I was like, a day went by. I waited to see if someone would email me. A week went by, a month went by. After about 3 months, I'm like, I'm in the clear. I felt awful for writing this worm, and I was like, I'm never going to do anything like that again. And I feel fortunate that I got off, nothing happened to me. And then 6 months later, I walked down to my car, and there were 2 guys standing next to it. They're like, Samy? And I'm like, oh no, they're going to steal my car. And I go up, and then 2 more guys come, and I'm like, wait, carjackers don't know your name. And they're like, Samy, United States Secret Service. I was like, oh no. and they said they had a search warrant. And they went through my home, they went through my office, they took everything I had, anything digital, anything with data on it, my computer, my laptop. I mean, worst of all, they took my Xbox. It's awful. And after that, I fought with the government, and after 6 months, we came to an agreement that I would never touch computers again. There was a nice clause in there. If I was on good behavior for 3 years, which is hard for me, but if I could be on good behavior for 3 years, I would get that all removed. So for 3 years, I didn't touch a computer. I didn't go on the internet. I didn't have email or CounterStrike. And one day, 3 years later, I went back to court and I said, I am rehabilitated by the state of California, and I was allowed to touch computers again. And I was so excited about that. And it was the best day of my life again. So I was back on computers, and I was like, I still love hacking. Like, it's so awesome. You can do so much to anything. And I'm not malicious. I don't want to take things down. I just think it's this really cool puzzle. And it's like a puzzle on a piece of paper that you solve. That's really fun, and it's gratifying for a moment. But if you can solve a puzzle on a computer, you're actually, that's applicable to something. And hacking takes it a step further. It's a puzzle that you weren't meant to solve, right? You're not meant to hack something. A puzzle someone built and made an escape route for you. There is no escape route when you're talking about this technology and you're talking about hacking. So when I came back, I thought, all right, how am I going to hack stuff, not go to jail, and show, I guess, the cool thing about technology and about reverse engineering and how we can understand technology and how it affects us all and how our devices are used and the information that they take and the information that can be used with them. And I heard Amazon was going to use drones. I was like, oh, this is cool. So Amazon's supposedly going to use drones to like fly things around, to fly packages around. And I love Amazon. They deliver stuff to me all the time. And as soon as I heard this, I was like, these can't be safe. So I got a drone, and I found that it was pretty much using broken wireless technology. I'm thinking, like, I think they want to do some really cool stuff, but do we really want drones flying around that are going down our streets if they can be, let's say, taken over? So I developed something called Skyjack. And it's open source software running on a Raspberry Pi that you can attach to your own drone. And when you fly it around and it detects the wireless signal of any other drone, it takes it over and gives you full control. It allows you to build an army of zombie drones that just fly around swarming. And fortunately, ever since I released that, a couple of drone manufacturers have fixed their wireless protocols, but more than half of them still haven't. And we're talking industrial drones, right? We're not just talking about a $300 consumer drone. We're talking drones that police use. We're talking drones that various government and industrial companies are using, energy companies. These are big things. They're heavy. They're dangerous. They're also awesome. They're so cool, right? These $300, you can buy a drone that's able to fly. You can control it from an iPad or a phone. That's so amazing. These propellers can also really hurt, right? You can also attach payloads. There's some scary videos on YouTube of people attaching weapons onto these things. So there's always pros and cons. So we need to understand that as we continue to embrace this technology. And I love this technology. And I thought there's also so much interesting stuff with information, so much information that we release. MIT, some years ago, they released something called Gaydar, where they are able to tell you if you're gay or not, in case you didn't actually specify it on your profile. They're able to actually extract information about you based off the things you do, the things you say, your friends, and they're able to tell you with certainty if you are or not, in case you're unsure. I think that's crazy. PleaseRobMe is a great example of a website that, unfortunately, I'm probably on right now. If you go to PleaseRobMe.com, what they tell you is they're scanning Foursquare, Twitter, Facebook, and they're looking for people like me that say, hey, I'm leaving Los Angeles, I'm going to Amsterdam, really excited. Oh, by the way, Samy is not at his house, he's 1,000 miles away, go rob him now. It's just taking this information from the public web, right? From all the information that we release. This is Matt Honan, a writer at Wired. Hackers were able to basically get into his Amazon account and extract something that Amazon thinks is not a big deal. It's the last 4 digits of your credit card number. With that same information, hackers were able to call into Apple and say, hey, I'm Matt. I lost my password. I lost my iCloud information. Can you verify it's me? Sure, just tell us the last 4 of your credit card number. The same information that Amazon publicly displays. They were able to get into his iCloud account, They were able to get into his MacBook, his iPad, his iPhone, got into his email, changed his Gmail password, changed his password for Twitter, Facebook, all of his social media, deleted his MacBook, deleted his iPad, deleted his phone, deleted all the information, deleted all the backups, and he woke up with his digital life erased, entirely erased, from 4 digits. 4 digits of information. There's another great example of John McAfee, who was on the lam for a while. He was basically running, he was in Central America and wanted for potentially murder. And Vice went and found him. And they basically went on the lam together. Vice took a picture. They uploaded and say, hey, we're with John McAfee right now. We're not going to tell you where we are. Except for the fact that our phone records the location of wherever you take the picture. And that was put on vice.com. So the actual GPS information was inside of the image. He was captured 2 days later. So watch out for that. Another thing that I think is, it's incredible. Like, this stuff is absolutely incredible and enhances our lives. But there's so much that we should just think about and be cognizant of. Google Maps, I think, is such an incredible tool. And we have these basically, Google Street View cars that are driving around, and they're taking pictures of Street View, but simultaneously, they're actually looking for Wi-Fi information. Every router, whether it's password protected or not, has a unique address. And that information is collected by Google and is correlated with the signal strength and with the location that the car is at. And all this information goes up into a public database that you can access. And I demonstrated that if you visit my website, I can tell you your physical address, exactly where you are, no matter what network you're on, because of this information. And I remember I was speaking in Slovakia about this at a hacker group. And I was really excited to show people that I could find out exactly where you are. And they're like, Samy, that won't work here. In Slovakia, it's illegal for Google to have Street View cars. So I was like, oh man, okay, that's interesting. So I tried it anyway. And it still knew exactly where we were. So even where Street View cars were illegal, it knew exactly where we were based off the information from just visiting a web page on your phone or on your, or not even on your computer, which has no GPS. It's because of Android. So all of our Android devices are actually war-driving machines. And we didn't know this for years. And iPhone and Microsoft Windows Phone. I found that all of these phones have been quietly and secretly collecting where you are, how fast you're moving, all of the unique addresses of the routers around you. Just war driving constantly, sending them all up to the mothership. And what's worse is that Apple and Microsoft continued to send this information even when you disabled GPS. So when you said, do not allow my location to be used, it said, okay, and none of your location apps would work, but it would continue to send that information and your location up. Absolutely crazy. So I thought it'd be really cool to demonstrate this by making a little app. So I made an app that allowed you to basically do Google Maps. You say, I'm here, and I want to go to my destination in Amsterdam Central. And it says, okay, and it shows you the directions, and simultaneously, it sends thousands of fake requests to Google saying all of these cars are going 0 miles per hour, which then draws a line on Google Maps for everyone. Because that's how Google Maps gets traffic from your phone. It knows how fast you're moving and how fast everyone else is moving. So you can just send thousands of fake requests and say, oh yeah, we're all moving 0 miles per hour, and then make everyone else take other streets. And your street just opens up. Thank you. It didn't last for long. So there's just so much incredible information that our devices are using and sharing and spewing out. That's also like really incredible. This is a quote that I love. In my experience, once data becomes invisible, something magical happens. They forget about security. I want to share with you some of the really cool research that's been coming out of various, from hackers to governments to researchers and educational institutes. Tempest attacks are essentially attacks where you can extract information from, let's say, side channels. So, for example, a monitor is producing electromagnetic interference all around it. And someone in another room can potentially see what's on the monitor just by the electromagnetism that's emanated from it. People have demonstrated using a laser pointer to bounce off of a laptop screen. And the vibration of that laser pointer, by just looking at the vibration of the laser pointer, you can tell the unique vibration of every keystroke and extract the keys that are being used, that are being pressed. It's absolutely incredible. This is all so low cost. Any one of us can create this stuff. That's the most exciting thing, is that you can create such cool technology and take so much information. This is another really cool example. There's a camera called FLIR. It's an infrared camera. And someone showed about a year ago, they made one for an iPhone. And someone said, oh, this is what happens when you go to an ATM pad right after someone enters their password and use the FLIR camera and take a picture. You clearly see the digits that were used for the password. You have a key sweeper device. This is a normal USB charger. It also records all keystrokes from wireless Microsoft keyboards. Oh man, such cool research. People have found that you can use an iPhone and use the microphone to listen to a keyboard in the same room and listen to the unique vibrations, the unique sound that each key creates, to also produce the keystrokes that are being used on that keyboard. Accelerometers and gyroscopes within devices have been used to extract the passwords. So you have a background app that's looking just how your hand is moving while typing and can extract the keys that you're pressing. Wall outlets, as you plug devices into the wall. So if you plug your computer in and it has a wired keyboard, you said, all right, I'm going to watch out for that key sweeper device, no wireless keyboards here. Well, your keyboard is connected to the ground that goes into your computer, that goes into the wall, that goes into the electrical circuit throughout the rest of your room. If you plug into another electrical circuit, you can read the leakage off of that same ground plug. It's all connected. Like, all of that information and power is connected. People are buying these e-cigarettes off eBay, which come preloaded with malware. So you plug it in to recharge via USB, and it installs malware. I mean, you think, all right, e-cigarette, my computer might get hacked. Nuclear reactors have been taken over because of USB sticks. Nuclear reactors. This is the scariest thing I've ever seen. A bag of potato chips. Researchers have demonstrated that by putting a bag of potato chips in a room, a soundproof room with soundproof glass, they can use a standard DSLR camera to look at the foil, and because sound is just vibrating air, it vibrates the bag. Very minute, but those vibrations can be extracted with a standard DSLR camera turned back into audio from a soundproof room. They've done this with plants. Tel Aviv, the University of Tel Aviv was able to also use a standard Android cell phone to extract passwords from a computer using electrical emanations. Absolutely incredible stuff. And the next thing that's coming out, of course, is cars and autonomy, right? So much information that these cars are using and extracting to drive and drive autonomously. I mean, fortunately, there's a way to solve all of this. I am selling tinfoil hats afterwards, so if you'd like to buy some. But really, I don't want you to fear technology. I want you to think about it. All I want you to do is, the next time you buy something, the next time you use something, we all love technology. I love technology. I use it every single day. I embrace it. I think we all do here. I want you to think the next time you buy a device, a tablet, a computer, or that Bluetooth lock that you put on your home door, think like, I'm giving up something and I'm receiving something. Is that balanced, or am I getting the upper hand or not? Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. But just be cognizant and think, how does this affect me, and will this affect me in a good way or a bad way in the future? Thanks so much.